All right, my name is Charles D. Beard, B-E-A-R-D, and I live here. I was born in this parish, Concordia Parish, in 1928, and in 2 days I'll be 94 years old. The COVID pandemic has really changed our lives here. It started out with something we didn't know anything at all about. And we couldn't find out anything other than the fact that the TV and folks were talking about COVID pandemic. 3/4 or more of the people that I talked to about this, or the conversation come up, they wouldn't know any more than I did, and I didn't know boodle or squat about it. You can use that boodle or squat as whatever you want to do, but that's one of my words, and it means nothing. The first week, my wife went to a little town here, and she run up toward the hospital. They said, well, you got to be tested. She said, tested for what? Tested for COVID. It caught her completely by surprise. She wound up in the hospital for the COVID. And she stayed there for a couple of days and nights. And I couldn't go see her because they said, no, you can't see anyone in that condition. So, well, that didn't sit right at all with me. And it really upset me. I was angry, really. The very idea of somebody taking my wife, the first thing that she knew, she was in a hospital bed in the emergency room, and then they moved her from the emergency room, wound up in isolation. And that night, she told me, that night they had somebody covered completely up with mask and everything, and they were there at her bedside all the time, looking at her. But they finally tested one day and said she's free. Got my car and brought her home. I guess what I'm saying is, the hospital didn't really know what they were doing either. They didn't even know what COVID was, or pandemic was, or anything else. If they knew, they wasn't sharing it with anybody. All I knew was a big booger man. Almost a year and a half later on, they still don't want you to visit patients in the hospital. Okay, but I visit people in the community. They welcome anybody that will come to visit them when they're sick or ailing. Have to go and just empathize and sympathize with them. That's what community is all about, is helping each other when we're down. And this COVID is through a bunch of cold water on everything that has to do with that. And I think it's just simply because nobody understands what's going on. And who do you ask? You ask the neighbor and he don't know any more than you do. You ask one of the medical professions and they are hesitant to even give you the time of day, really. Then the mask thing started, and you had to wear a mask everywhere. Well, I wear hearing aids, and every time I pulled the mask off, one of the hearing aids come off. Well, I wound up losing hearing aids. I searched the cars and everything, everywhere I went to try to find them, and I'd find them either in the car or one time I went to a store and they said, did you lose a hearing aid? I said, I sure did. You got it? Yeah, it did. The VA wasn't very cooperative on that. And you can understand why, because they furnished the hearing aid, and I'm supposed to be able to take care of it. So anyway, that was one of the problems I had. Otherwise, I'm all right with society about the pandemic. That's my story.